Welcome to part 3 of Staying Buoyant and Proactive During Times of Change, a learning series brought to you by the Alameda County Training and Education Center. I'm Ruth Kim, and I will be your facilitator for this training. The focus of the session is being proactive. We'll take a look at tools and tips for stepping up and finding your best proactive responses during times of change. In our previous sessions, we talked about how a major change at work can be pretty difficult. It can even be frightening when change happens in a climate of uncertainty. You might not know exactly what's coming. Your manager might not have all the information. You might need to take it week by week or day by day to see what's really happening as more information is provided. This can be really unsettling. It makes it very challenging to change, which is really about changing yourself first, because all organizational change is experienced at the personal level. And so the first step is to understand yourself. What am I feeling exactly? How would I describe my emotions? This self-assessment is at the core of exercising your emotional intelligence. Understanding yourself is understanding your response to change. Your reactions, both internal and external, driven by your emotions. Once you can name your feelings, you'll be able to identify specifically why you're feeling them. And this will enable you to more freely accept the change. When you're able to understand yourself and your response, emotions, you are in a position to better manage yourself through stress reduction and self-care. This is the practice of self-management. Identify what you need to feel more fully you and your best self, whether that's music, a walk, or talking with a friend or loved one. You also want to self-manage by understanding the change itself so that you have clarity and certainty about what you need to do. Why is the organizational change happening? What's the overall purpose and why is it important? What's the longer-term goal? All this was the focus of parts 1 and 2 of this series. This session is really about reframing the change and taking action. In other words, finding that better mindset that enables you to have a healthier outlook on and relationship to yourself, to your work, and to other people. With this better mindset, you can shift from being reactive to being proactive. We'll do this by focusing on 2 steps. Identify the benefits and opportunities of the change. There are at least several, and probably many. And choose your actions, whether that's managing, facilitating, or leading the change to enhance your professional value. Before we go into these 2 steps, let's take a moment and think about reframing. We want to reframe the change in positive ways, especially because the change most likely won't go away. A positive perspective will empower you to not only come to terms with the change, but also enable you to champion the change through your strengths and actions. In other words, you'll be able to cultivate positive, supportive, motivating, and accountability holding relationships with others that helps them better cope with the change. Those actions increase your value to the organization. Reframing invites you to take a step back and really understand your outlook on and your relationship to the change. A quick example of reframing. What do you see in this picture? A white vase? Or is it a silhouette of 2 women facing each other? It's the same exact picture, yet 2 very different ways of seeing it. Same thing with viewing a major change at work, like working remote for the very first time when you're accustomed to going into the office every day. At first, it can feel frustrating. You feel lost, or feel like you don't have the structure in place to put in an 8-hour workday at home, where so many distractions and other needs are right in front of you. This can feel isolating or it could just feel demotivating because it's hard to balance work and home life. But once you get in touch with those feelings, you can step back from them and begin to identify what you need and actually see the positives in the situation and the positive outcome that will come out of it in the longer term. Maybe with the help of your supervisor or your colleague that has more experience with working remote, or an online training that teaches you tips and strategies. You will learn how to take breaks regularly as a form of self-care. Maybe get a few dishes done in the meantime. Have lunch with your family. You actually have the best of both worlds right now. That is super positive. And so you move from a mindset and framing of codependency on being in the office environment with everything you need, everyone you work with in front of you, to one of autonomy and interdependency that enables you to balance your work and professional relationships with your home life, where your colleagues and supervisor are reachable, but maybe more so online or on the phone now. So reframing is about viewing something in a different way, processing a situation from a new perspective. And what helps most to reframe the change is identifying the benefits and opportunities of the change. Really, you want to list these. For me, going from mostly live in-person instructor-led classroom trainings to something like this online learning platform involved a huge learning curve. I felt uncertain about my skills, which made me feel kind of bad about myself initially, about my seeming lack of competence, and especially having to give up my love for interacting with people and facilitating learning as a live collaborative experience in the classroom. But I made a list of benefits and opportunities. I am learning new skill sets that enable me to be more innovative for my organization. I'm reaching people, or at least I hope I am, in a more timely manner when they might be needing it most, getting content to them in a format that's accessible any time of the day. I'm also part of the movement to help my organization think and produce differently through innovative learning and training outcomes. Online learning is the wave of the future, and that future is now. And I'm applying this technology even in my personal life for family and community projects. It's a win-win-win situation. Now that you have a positive outlook on your change situation, you're more than ready to choose your actions. It's important that you focus on what you can control and influence and let go of what you can't. For example, you can't expect your new supervisor to act in the same way as your previous supervisor, but you can learn how to work best with your new supervisor. Find strategies, approaches to communicate and interact in ways that enhance your synergy as a team together. You can never really control another person's behavior, but you can control your own response to that behavior and encourage different and better outcomes, as well as a better process to get there. Taking action may be as simple as noticing a coworker struggling with coping with the same change you've been able to work through. Taking a moment to listen non-judgmentally to their needs and coaching them towards this just new strategies and approaches to work with and through the change successfully. This adds so much value to your organization, and this makes your work with them easier in the future based on that trust and support you build with them. Remember that this is the past that somebody in the future is longing to go back to. And so embrace a mindset of growth and learning. It takes practice and an openness to feedback from others. Honor change as a process too. In other words, it can take time and patience for yourself, your colleagues, and your organization. And trust that challenge always can be an opportunity, really an invitation to become and be and do things even better. When you do so, you are building up your resilience, the ability to bounce back from difficulty. And you're in a better position to be proactive, to stay positive, to actively support others, to flex your own leadership in ways that's better for your team and for the clients you serve. Let's end with a quick reframing activity. Think of a major change you're currently experiencing at work. Then answer the following prompts. State the overall purpose of the change and why it's important. Once you're able to articulate this for yourself, you will have the clarity to move forward. List all the benefits and opportunities to you that you can think of about the change. And finally, come up with 1 to 3 concrete actions you will commit to in order to manage, facilitate, or lead the change. This concludes part 3 of Staying Buoyant and Proactive During Times of Change. Congratulations on finishing the series. Thank you so much for viewing and learning with me.